The PIA and PIA360 stands for Portfolio Intelligence Assessment. It's a tool for assessing leadership qualities and shaping organizational culture. Its creators say it is so much more than a survey. Joining me now to share more is Felicia Shakiba, CEO and podcast host of CPO Playbook, the company that created PIA360, and PIA360 user Bobby Kingsbury from MCM Capital. Welcome to the New York Stock Exchange.
Thank you so much for having us. We're excited to be here.
Of course. So what is PIA360?
Yeah, so PIA360, we believe, is a breakthrough in how we approach M&A transactions and value creation. So like you said, it stands for Portfolio Intelligence Assessment, and it allows us to use predictive analytics to measure how leadership behaviors and culture impact business results. So that means sales growth, retention, execution, speed, and across multiple portfolio companies, we're able to leverage that data to make smart signaling predictions of how we think that company will perform.
So how is the data being collected? If somebody is using PIA360, what are they doing?
Yeah, so great question. We're using multiple sources of data. So that's quantitative data through a survey, qualitative data through interviews with employees and leaders. We also look at documentation to really tell the full picture. And so with all of these particular sources, we're able to tell the very clear image of, or illustrate on how that company's performing, where the organizational risks are, and how they're impacting the business. So we can double down on where we can identify how we're going to really impact value creation.
All right, so Bobby, what is MCM Capital and how did you use PIA360?
Sure, so we're a lower middle market private equity fund based out of Cleveland, Ohio. We've been around for 30 years and have continued to partner with niche manufacturing, value-added distribution businesses. We're really partnering with founders and CEOs, entrepreneurs of those specific businesses. Why we use PIA360, so we look at 4 pillars of growth in any organization: sales and marketing, financial, operational, and organizational health. We found that within the first 3, it's more objective. We can look at those numbers, we can look at the data and be able to assess that in our diligence. But organizational health is a little bit more of the softer side, it's more subjective. So we wanted to try to find a way to get a baseline number that we can measure, and when things get measured, they can actually improve. So that's why we try to use it at the beginning.
All right, and what impact did PIA360 have on business?
Sure, it gave us more clarity, at least initially, right? And it gave us that baseline that we can start to measure from. We like to say is communication sets expectations, but what we found is clear and frequent communication manages expectations. And that's what we learned from the PIA360. As a matter of fact, one of our portfolio companies then tried to create those data analytics that we're looking at and have it be more pervasive across the organization. So it created transparency for not only our executive leadership team, but for the employees all the way down to the shop floor. And that became more meaningful. It created engagement, it created more buy-in, because shared with all is different than shared by all. And when it's shared by all, then collectively we can come together in alignment in our organization, learn to create shareholder value together.
All right, and why did you decide to create PIA360, and when did you think of the idea?
Yeah, so it originated while I was at Stanford, and then in addition to the research and my previous experience, we figured out that one of the biggest challenges in M&A transactions is around ambiguity, and with too much ambiguity, morale can dip. Employees get very nervous, investors don't know a lot about the leadership teams, new leadership don't know much about the new PE firm or parent company that just bought them, and so we wanted to create much more clarity in that process, and in order to do that, we wanted to tell a full story from different perspectives. So that means the perspective of the leadership teams, the employees, the investors, and then aligning those perspectives to really share transparency. And that creates alignment by giving everyone a chance to speak about what they really feel is the stall or the blocker. And we're able to narrow in precisely on what those challenges are.
And when we spoke yesterday, you were clear. You're like, this is not a survey. This is so much more than a survey. So how does it differ from a traditional engagement survey?
Yeah, that's a great question. So an engagement survey is really a snapshot of how people are feeling, which is very important. But PIA360 really allows us to understand the full picture, and it's about predicting performance, predicting the organizational performance on, like I said, sales growth or retention, and we were able to do that in the case study with MCM. And so when you think about what is the difference, it's the difference between looking in the rearview mirror and looking and seeing clearly through the windshield. It's more forward thinking.
What's next for you and for PIA360?
Yeah, so I think PIA360 has a lot of potential to not just be a clear idea of what we do with our current portfolio, but also really important for companies who are looking to exit or looking to go public. We want to work with them a year in advance at least to really show them what we're going to do next.
Thank you so much, Felicia and Bobby. Join us tomorrow. We will be back, and I will be in the anchor chair, and we'll see you tomorrow.